Ho ho ho! Hello there everyone, and welcome to a very special episode. Today we're going to be taking a look at my favorite Christmas film, Die Hard. Yeah, don't worry folks, we're not doing that the whole video. This isn't that kind of channel. However, we are talking about Die Hard today, not just because it is the greatest Christmas movie of all time, but because I also recently had the opportunity to see it for the very first time in a movie theater. So of course, I had to review it. Die Hard's screenplay was originally based on a book called Nothing Lasts Forever, a sequel to another book called The Detective, which had been adapted into a film in 1968 starring Frank Sinatra. Because of contractual obligations, Sinatra was first offered the lead role in Die Hard, but he turned it down since by that point he was in his 70s. After Sinatra, the role was then offered to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who passed because he wanted to diversify the type of roles that he was taking. Rumor has it that if Schwarzenegger had taken the role, it would have been rewritten to be a sequel to Commando. Following that, it was offered to just about every big leading man in Hollywood at the time, including Sylvester Stallone, Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, Burt Reynolds, and many others, but everyone turned it down.
Oh, you stupid motherfuckers! No!
Eventually, Bruce Willis, who was mostly known at the time for comedy roles, landed the part, while the role of the lead villain was given to Alan Rickman in his feature film debut. As for the film itself, John McClane is a New York cop visiting his estranged wife in LA for their company Christmas party. When the building is taken hostage, John is the only one who manages to get out and spends the remainder of the movie attempting to stop their plot and save his wife. The story expertly builds tension from start to finish. The characters are interesting, charismatic, and they all play off each other great, even despite a lot of the film's core dialogue being exchanged over the radio rather than in person. John McClane in this first Die Hard film is one of the best action film protagonists ever. He's written exceptionally well, and Bruce Willis gives him a certain relatable humanity that was uncommon from action heroes at the time.
Report me, come the f down here and arrest me! Just send the police now!
He isn't an unstoppable Superman like most other heroes in this type of movie would be. Think back on Commando, which again, at one point, this was going to be a sequel to. Arnold's character in that film, John Matrix, spends the majority of that movie getting shot at by hundreds of henchmen, but he never seems to get hit. It's only when he gets to the final boss that he struggles in any way. In Die Hard though, John McClane goes through the ringer. He's beat up, shot, completely messes up his feet, and just generally gets the shit kicked out of him. Each skirmish takes a toll on him little by little to the point that when he eventually reaches his own final boss, John McClane has been reduced to little more than a crazed madman. Speaking of Hans Gruber is also easily one of the best action movie villains of all time. He's the opposite of John in many ways, sophisticated and well-spoken. Throughout the movie, he and John taunt each other without meeting face to face, and it's fantastic.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
When the two finally do meet, though, it's one of the best scenes in the movie. I'm still on the edge of my seat every time I watch it, even though I know exactly what's gonna happen. Then there's Sergeant Al Powell, played by Reginald VelJohnson, a police officer outside the tower who also develops a relationship with John throughout the film, exclusively over the radio. He and John, however, encourage each other and bond over the experience.
How many kids you got, Al?
Well, as a matter of fact, my wife is working on our first.
The first time they ever see each other in person at the end of the film, they just know. Yeah, that's the guy. The final major character is John's wife, Holly, played by Bedelia, who, fun fact, is the paternal aunt of Macaulay Culkin, the star of Home Alone, another great Christmas classic. Holly, like John, is a bit of a departure from the typical role that a love interest character would have played in this type of movie in the past. While nowadays the term strong independent woman can be a pretty cliche descriptor for a female character, at the time this was a somewhat uncommon idea. This fact is even woven into the narrative of the film, with a big part of John's character arc being that he needs to accept Holly's successful career as a new reality in their marriage if he wants it to continue. All of the terrorists, as well as a handful of the other hostages, each have a little bit of personality injected into them, even some of those who don't have any speaking lines. On top of everything else, this movie is just an absolute blast to watch, and I do it every Christmas. Great characters, story, action, and comedy. What is there left to be said that hasn't already? Die Hard is basically a perfect action movie. There's really not a single thing to complain about. If you haven't seen it, what are you watching this video for? Go watch the movie. This is Die Hard. You've gotta go see see it right now.
One thing I've always found interesting, however, was the debate surrounding whether or not this is considered a Christmas movie.
It's definitely an action movie first, but it is also a Christmas movie. John's arc revolves around reconciling the differences he has with his wife and learning to be a family again, which is a pretty typical theme for Christmas stories. And to top it all off, a lot of the film's score is made up of Christmas songs.
You got any Christmas
Movies?
This is Christmas.
Movie. But I think I can finally set this debate to rest once and for all. Behold, the officially licensed picture book, A Die Hard Christmas. It loosely adapts the plot of Die Hard into a rhyming story in the vein of The Night Before Christmas. They spoke not a word and unloaded big crates. They cut the phone lines and locked all the gates. Carl swept the ground floor, shooting every guard dead, while visions of bearer bonds danced in his head. Hans quickly flipped over the gold picture frame. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. McClane.
Alright, well, that'll about do it for me.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, all I want for Christmas is for you to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and ring the bell to make sure you catch all my future videos. Drop a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on Die Hard, and check out some of the other videos I've got up on this channel. Once again, thanks very much to all of you for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and take care.